Have you ever heard a recording of your own voice and felt your stomach drop? That little jolt of embarrassment, like someone took your face and stretched it slightly wrong. You think, wait, that's not me. Who is that person? The urge arrives almost instantly. Delete the clip, re-record, or decide you won't speak up next time. If that's familiar, you're not broken, and you're not alone. There's a reason your voice feels like a stranger. And it's not just a trick of microphones and speakers. It goes deeper, into the room where your soul keeps its mirrors. Carl Jung would tell you the voice you hate is not just sound. It's an image. The audible image of your persona, the mask you wear so the world can meet you without being overwhelmed by the full truth of you. We all need that mask. The persona is useful. But when the mask drifts too far from your living center, when what you present and what you are cease to speak to each other, your recorded voice becomes a ghostly reminder. It says, look at the distance, listen to the gap, think about it. In daily life, you feel your voice from the inside. It rises with your breath, warm with your private meanings. Then you hear it from the outside, stripped of that warm interior echo. The mind compares them and flinches. That flinch, in Jung's language, is the shadow knocking. Not to shame you, but to bring you back into alignment. Let's sit with the everyday moment. You send a voice note and immediately regret it. You leave a meeting replay on in the background and wince when you begin to speak. You laugh too quickly or sound too careful, too high, too flat, too something. The critic inside wakes up and begins a little harvest. Never say that again, don't sound like that, hide. But what if the cringe is not punishment? What if it's a compass? What if the exact part of the voice that makes you uncomfortable points to a piece of you waiting to be welcomed? Jung would say, your shadow carries traits you've disowned. Strength, tenderness, anger, playfulness, authority. Whatever you learned was risky to show. When those traits are exiled, your voice works overtime to sound acceptable. It tightens, it apologizes, or it inflates. It becomes a sentry at the gate. Then, when you hear yourself, you're hearing your gatekeeper instead of your guest. No wonder it feels off. So what do you do with that? Not force your voice to be better, not perfect it like a performance. Perfection is just a shinier mask. Instead, we do something more honest. We bring the two voices, inner and outer, into conversation. Here's a simple ritual. Find a quiet space. Choose a short paragraph, a poem, a note to yourself, a few lines from a book that matters. Record yourself reading it 3 times. First, the way you normally would. Second, exaggerate the parts you usually hide. Emphasize the softness if you're often hard, or the firmness if you often stay small. Third, read it as if you were comforting a dear friend who is hurting. When you listen back, don't judge. Observe. Ask. Which voice felt most like breath? Which one exhausted me? Which one carried truth? You're not trying to pick a winner. You're learning the shapes of your persona and your shadow by ear. Because here's a secret. The voice you hate might actually be protecting you. It might be the shy guard who learned years ago that speaking too boldly led to embarrassment, rejection, or danger. When you hear that guard's voice, tight, careful, it's not your enemy. It's your history arriving as sound. If you can thank it, even once, the grip softens. Another everyday scene. You listen to someone with an effortless, grounded tone and feel a twist of envy. Why do they get to sound so at home inside their mouth? Jung called this the golden shadow. The qualities you admire in others are disowned gifts in you. That steady voice? It's an energy you already carry but keep in the dark. Your envy isn't pettiness, it's a lighthouse. Instead of shaming yourself for it, try this. Name the quality in one word. Steady, warm, playful, bold. Then record a single sentence with that word in mind, not pretending to be them, not copying their style, just allowing your voice to borrow that frequency for a moment. Feel the difference in your chest. You're not faking, you're remembering. And what about the inner critic? The one that hisses, "You sound ridiculous, nobody wants to hear you." Jung would ask, whose voice is that? Often it belongs to a complex, a bundle of old emotion and memory that constellated around a wound. Maybe a teacher laughed when you read aloud. Maybe a parent valued quiet above truth. A complex isn't a curse, it's a loop. When it gets loud, your recorded voice will seem smaller, thinner, brittle. The way out is to give the complex a place to speak and be finished. Try the 2-minute interview. Hit record and ask out loud, "Critic, what are you trying to protect?" Then answer in its voice for 60 seconds. Don't think, just let the words fall. Next question. Protector, what do you wish I would try? Answer for another 60 seconds in a different tone. Now stop and listen. You'll be surprised. The critic often wants safety. The protector often wants experiment. Neither is the self. But both can serve the self when they're heard instead of obeyed. There's another pattern, quieter but common. The throat that tightens at the exact moment you need to speak a boundary. You go to say no and your mouth goes dry. Jung understood that when the persona is built around being agreeable, your body will interrupt your voice to keep the mask intact. That swallowed no becomes muscle memory. It shows up as the tremble you judge when you hear yourself. Let's undo one knot at a time. Pick 3 phrases and practice them into your phone as if you were leaving a message for someone safe. No, that doesn't work for me. I need a moment. Here's what I can do. Keep your feet on the floor. Breathe low and slow. When you listen back, notice. Did you rush? Where did your voice rise? Could you let a little silence live between words? You're not training yourself to be harsh. You're teaching your nervous system that boundaries can be spoken gently and still belong to you. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Jung believed that our inner opposite, the anima in men, the animus in women, often colors our speech. If you identify as a man and your inner feminine has been shamed, your voice may harden into monotone, avoiding tenderness. If you identify as a woman and your inner masculine has been demonized, your voice may shrink around assertiveness. None of this is a rule. It's a poetic way of saying the parts you're at war with will try to hide in your tone. When you hear your recording and cringe, ask, which inner partner did I silence? A tiny practice. Give both partners a minute each. Hit record. First, speak from your inner gentle. I want, I feel, I care. Let warmth in. Second, speak from your inner firm. I decide, I choose, I will. Let structure in. Listen. Then ask your body which blend feels like home. You don't have to be 50-50. You're tuning, not performing. Sometimes the voice trouble arrives at night. You dream you're trying to call for help and no sound comes. You try to sing and your mouth fills with sand. Jung saw dreams as letters from the self. In this letter, the message might be, something in you is struggling to be spoken in waking life, not shouted, not broadcast, just spoken. When you wake from a dream like that, don't panic. Take it as a request. Before bed tonight, write one sentence you didn't say today. Something you swallowed, then whisper it into your recorder and keep it. Not to share, not yet, just to make an audible bridge between your inner and outer worlds. Do this for a week. Watch what changes in your daytime voice. The change may be quiet, like a room in you finding a door. There's also the problem of performance. You hear yourself and think, I sound fake. Jung would nod. The persona is theater. It's supposed to be. But theater without soul becomes propaganda. The way back is very simple. Tell one small truth. Set a timer for 30 seconds. Pick a friend you trust and send a voice note that starts with, I'm speaking this before I know how to polish it. Then say one true thing you're feeling, nothing grand, no lessons. The point isn't to be raw and dramatic, it's to let your voice carry truth before your mind edits it into a brand. When you listen back, you may still cringe, but you'll feel the pulse under the cringe. That's where your real voice lives, not perfect, but present. Here's a paradox. People often try to fix their voice from the throat up. They squeeze, they project, they push, but a living voice rides breath, and breath drops lower when you feel safe. Jung would say, safety comes when you aren't in exile from yourself. So start from the ground. Place a hand on your belly. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Exhale for 6. Hum softly on the out-breath, like you're warming your hands on a winter window. Feel the vibration in your chest and lips. Do this for 1 minute, then speak one sentence, not to sound better, to sound connected. Midway check. When you heard your voice last time, what did it remind you of? A mask, a scared child, a stranger? Tell me in the comments and I'll read everyone. And if this is helping you understand your own sound in a kinder way, tap subscribe so you don't miss the next step. We're building this voice together week by week. If you've ever gone silent in a room with loud people, you might think your voice is too small to matter. But a small voice can still be true, and true carries farther than loud. Jung's individuation isn't about becoming impressive. It's about becoming whole. Wholeness isn't theatrical, it's coherent. When the inner parts of you stop competing, your sound stops apologizing. There's a beautiful exercise Jungians sometimes use, active imagination. Think of someone you love but with whom you're careful, maybe too careful. Close your eyes and hear their voice in your mind. Now, in imagination, let them ask, what do you wish you could say to me without managing my reaction? Hit record and answer out loud. Don't plan, trust the stream. After 2 minutes, stop and listen. Notice 2 things: where your voice wanted to hide, and where it surprised you by being steady. Those are your map points. The hiding place marks a shadow you can befriend. The steady place marks a path you can walk. You might also notice you change your voice depending on the room. Lower with authority figures, higher with strangers, playful with children, clipped when you're tired. None of this is wrong. It's intelligent. The problem comes when you can't find your way back to your home tone after leaving it. To practice returning, pick a sentence that feels like you, something like, I'm here, and I'm not rushing. Say it in 3 different rooms today, kitchen, hallway, outside, and then say it alone in a quiet space. Developing this home note gives your body a place to land after performances. And what if you truly despise your recorded voice? Okay, let's not argue. Let's grow it. Find a song you loved as a child. Hum the melody, not sing the words, just hum. Humming is ancient and forgiving. Do it for 60 seconds, eyes closed, hand on the heart. Then speak a short gratitude to that child. Thank you for teaching me how to sound before I learned how to judge. Record that. If you cry, good. If you laugh, better. The point is to reconnect sound with tenderness. The judge will have less to do. Sometimes the cringe is cultural. Maybe you moved across countries or class lines. Your voice carries accents you've tried to smooth out, or slang people misread, or a rhythm someone once mocked. Jung would say, archetypes, mother, father, trickster, sage, live in cultures, but they wander between them too. Your voice holds migrations. When you hear it and feel alien, that's real grief. Honor it. Record a blessing for the places your sound has passed through. Something like, to the kitchen where I learned loud laughter, to the classroom where I learned smallness, to the streets where I learned quick words. Thank you. Then add, and to the person I'm becoming, I make room. You're not erasing your past to belong. You're letting your past belong inside you. Let's talk about speaking up when fear is loud. Most people wait for fear to vanish before they talk. That day never comes. Jung's gift is to show us that fear is not the opposite of voice. Fear is part of its fuel. Courage isn't a lion roar, it's a candle in a wind. The candle doesn't shout at the wind, it shields itself and keeps burning. Before a hard conversation, don't try to feel fearless. Try to feel organized. Decide the one truth you're committed to carry through the room, write it on a small card, breathe with it. Then when you speak, aim for simple. Simple sounds, trustworthy. Your voice will still tremble sometimes. Let it. A trembling bridge still carries people across. If you ever record yourself and hear arrogance, too much certainty, too sharp, that can be a shadow too. The self that's afraid of being ignored tries to dominate. Under the bark is a bruise. The remedy isn't shame, it's intimacy. Tell a story that costs you a little pride. Not to apologize, but to show the human under the armor. Watch how your tone alters. Kindness enters even when the words are firm. That's the difference between control and presence. There's an archetype that loves the microphone. The trickster. It plays with voices. It mimics, exaggerates, teases. If you've been too serious, your voice goes stale. Let the trickster visit. Record yourself describing your day as if you were a weather reporter, then as a poet, then as a sports commentator. Laugh at the absurdity. The point is flexibility. When you return to your ordinary tone, it will be fresher, because it remembers it could be otherwise. One more doorway. We often think authenticity means one voice forever. Jung would smile. Authenticity is not sameness. It's congruence. Many voices, one center. Think of a tree. Roots, trunk, branches. The leaves move wildly in wind. The roots are quiet. Your authentic voice is the way branches move without forgetting the trunk. So ask yourself before you speak, where is my trunk? Maybe your trunk is protecting your child. Maybe it's telling the truth gently. Maybe it's refusing to disappear. Choose your trunk. Then let your tone bend like leaves. Let's gather the practices into something you can use this week. First, the 3 recordings. Normal, exaggerated, comforting. Listen for breath versus performance. Second, the golden word. Name the quality you admire. Borrow its frequency for one sentence. Third, the boundary trio. No, that doesn't work for me. I need a moment. Here's what I can do. Slow, with space. Fourth, the inner partners. Give both your gentle and your firm a minute to speak. Fifth, the bedtime whisper. One swallowed sentence recorded softly, kept for you. And if you can, hum. Even 30 seconds will change the way your chest remembers your sound. By now, I hope you see the pattern. The cringe is not proof you're wrong. It's a messenger. It says, a part of you is unsung. Will you meet it? Jung's path doesn't demand that you adore your voice. It invites you to inhabit it. The day you stop flinching at your recordings won't be the day you learn a perfect technique. It will be the day your mask and your soul decide to travel together. So the next time you hear yourself and feel that old heat of embarrassment, try this small blessing. Thank you, shadow, for showing me where I'm hiding. Thank you, voice, for carrying me even when I'm unsure. Thank you, breath, for returning. And then speak. Not to be impressive, to be present. Your sound doesn't have to be big to be real. It has to be yours. And it can be. Take one step tonight. Send one honest voice note to someone safe. Keep one honest voice note for yourself. Listen back, not to judge, but to witness. That's how wholeness begins. In the quiet courage of a human being meeting their own sound and saying, finally, I'm here.